My topic is ethanol, from plants to power, how a simple plant like corn or sugarcane can be turned into a renewable energy source that fuels our transportation systems. To start off, what exactly is ethanol? Ethanol is an alcohol-based renewable fuel. It's made from plant materials like corn, sugarcane, and even cellulose from grasses and agricultural waste. Even if you've never bought ethanol fuel on purpose, you've still used it because ethanol is already blended into almost all regular gasoline in the United States. When you see E10 or E15 at gas pumps, that means 10 to 15% of fuel is ethanol. So where does ethanol come from? It depends on the country. In the United States, corn is the main biological source. In Brazil, the industry is dominated by sugarcane. Both crops have something important in common. They convert sunlight, CO2, and water stored into stored chemical energy through photosynthesis. That energy is locked into the sugars and starches inside the plants, energy that we later convert into fuel. Growing these crops requires a large farmland, sunlight, nutrients, and consistent water. Once harvested, they're transported to ethanol production facilities where the real transformation begins. So how do we turn plants into fuel? The process has 4 steps. First, the plant material is milled or ground into released starch. Second, enzymes break that starch down into sugars. Third, fermentation happens. This is the same biological process used as in brewing beer. Yeast performs anaerobic respiration, meaning it works without oxygen, converts sugar into ethanol and carbon dioxide. Finally, the ethanol is distilled and purified and then blended into gasoline. Yeast is an anaerobic respiration that the sugar is able to convert itself into ethanol and CO2. And it's the same process used in brewing, but it's purified more so that way you can use it in gasoline. So today, conventional ethanol, especially corn ethanol, is widely used. It's widely available. Most gas stations carry E10 or E15, and some offer E85 for flex fuel vehicles. But the exciting future lies in cellulosic ethanol, which uses non-food plant materials like grasses, crops, residues, or wood chips. This type of ethanol is still developing, mainly due to higher production costs and need for more efficient enzymes, but has enormous potential. One of the biggest reasons ethanol is so important is because of the carbon footprint of transportation when plants grow. They absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. When ethanol is burned, that CO2 is released again. This creates a good balanced cycle. Corn-based ethanol can cut emissions by 20 to 40%. Sugarcane can cut emissions by up to 70%. And cellulosic can reduce emissions by up to 80% compared to gasoline. Besides environmental benefits, ethanol impacts the economy. The industry supports farming, transportation, and manufacturing jobs, especially in the Midwest. It also reduces dependence on foreign oil, but there are downsides too. Using corn for fuel instead of food can raise food prices, and intensive farming requires fertilizer and land. The public communicates this by playing a big role and help people understand their choices. That's when you see pump labels like E10, E15, and E85, and why organizations like the Renewable Fuels Association and the Department of Energy work to educate drivers about renewable fuels. And some automakers even advertise flex fuels that can run on high ethanol blends. So what's the big analysis right now? Ethanol is an effective transitional fuel. It reduces emissions. It's already built into our fuel system, and it's relatively easy to produce. But corn ethanol has limits, long-term progress, depending on the shifting towards cellulosic ethanol, which is more sustainable and has a lower environmental impact. Finally, if unlimited funding was available, we could build large-scale cellulosic ethanol plants, improve enzyme technology, develop new bioenergy crops, expand flex fuel vehicles, and launch major public education campaigns to help people understand the benefits of biofuel. In conclusion, ethanol biofuel shows how something as simple as a plant can be transformed into power. It's not a perfect solution, but it's a significant step towards a cleaner, more sustainable energy future.